Hello and welcome to Pearls of Parmadice. My name is Courtney and I'm coming to you from Parma, Ohio, where I live with my husband, Mason, and all of our yarn. Today is Friday, January 30th, and I want to say a big thank you to all of you. Thank you so much to all of my new subscribers, all my returning subscribers. I hit over 500 and I am so excited. So thank you. I super appreciate you being here. So welcome. If you're new, a huge welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. You can find me at various places on the internet. Those will be linked down below today. You can find me on Pokemon Go, on Ravelry, Instagram, and in our Discord group for the podcast, which if you would like to join, please send me a message on either Instagram or Ravelry letting me know that you'd like to join, and we'll get you the link to that. Just not posting the link publicly to avoid all of the robots and the spam. You guys can find me there. Storygraph, Finch if you're on Finch, all the things. That's linked down below. And yeah, it is a very sunny, incredibly frigid day here in Northeast Ohio. So we're wearing a warm sweater and I am so ready to chat about knitting. As a thank you to all of you for subscribing and sticking with me, I am going to do a pattern giveaway. So it'll be a Ravelry pattern, or if Ravelry is not accessible to you, we'll figure out a pattern on another platform, no big deal, of valued at 10 or fewer US dollars. So if you would like to be entered into that giveaway, leave me a comment down below, and tell me what your favorite book is. Give me your book recommendations. Comment down there what your favorite book is. It doesn't have to be an adult book either. If you are not a big reader, that's okay. What was your favorite book as a kid or whatever? Just your favorite book. Let me know down below. All right. Let's keep going with the admin stuff. I just kind of launched in really aggressively today. I don't know. I was really excited. I'm really excited to be sitting down with you all. I did want to do a little more of an introduction since there are new faces here. As I said, my name's Courtney. I am in my mid-30s. I live in Parma, Ohio. That is a suburb of Cleveland. Cleveland is about 10 minutes down the street for me. And that's, northeast, if you're not familiar, northeast, right on the coast of Lake Erie. So yeah, that is where I live. I am a full-time library worker, which I've had some questions about what that means. So I am not a librarian. A librarian is only someone who holds a master's degree in library and information sciences. That's kind of the definition of a true librarian. So most of the folks that you see working in libraries are actually not librarians. I work in our customer service department. And you might wonder what that means. I had somebody the other day ask, why would a library need customer service? Great question. So my department used to be called circulation way back in the day. And basically that was because at that time, the majority of what those folks did was circulate the items. We still do that, but that is such a small piece of what we do now, that customer service is a better blanket term. So I check books, DVDs, video games, hotspots, adventure passes, all kinds of things, toys, kits out to people. When they return them, I process those returns. We are part of a consortia of over 40 different library systems in Northeast Ohio who all come together to share materials. So we have deliveries every day that go in and come out, and that is a piece of what I do. I'm also a certified U.S. passport agent. That's something that my location does. We process passport applications, which is super cool and a part of my job that I really love. I love helping people navigate that difficult process. It can be very challenging. So that is something that we do. We help people with their accounts, help people find where they're going in the library. And honestly, a lot of our job is just building relationships with folks in the community and making the library a welcoming space where people can come. One of my favorite things to do is every day in my department, we do a display of the day. We find either a fun holiday or a on this day kind of thing, and we do a display about it. And we do this every single day at our desk. I'll pop in a couple pictures of some that we've done over the past week or so. And I love doing that. It gives us some creative freedom. We don't get to put together the big book displays that the librarians and the other people that work at the adult and children's desks, they're called library associates in my system, who don't have a master's but are kind of doing some of that work over there, what they do. So it's really fun. I get to talk books with people. Not to say that every day is a super fun day. I work with the public. If you've worked with the public, if you know, you know. But it can be very rewarding. So anyway, that is what I do in my day job. I don't work in the town where I live, so I do have a commute. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. When I'm not knitting, I'm doing embroidery. I love to read. Reading is my first love, truly. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about me. I also love Pokemon. We're big Pokemon Go people in this house. I don't talk about it a ton on here, but we Pokemon Go all the time. Anyway, that's a little about me, maybe something that you didn't know. If you've been around for years, you probably did know most of that, but hopefully you found something interesting there. All right, we're going to get back to, I made show notes today. I made show notes, which should tell you how very little I actually have to chat about. But we all know I don't have any problem talking or filling time, which honestly is my day job. My whole day job involves talking to people, and I'm good at talking. Okay. So leave a comment, enter the pattern giveaway. A lot of you probably are here because of the giant mini mal. If you don't know anything about that, that is going on in the Pearls of Permadice podcast group over on Ravelry. Basically, knit your scraps, knit your minis, anything that when you started weighed under 50 grams. If you use it in a project, it counts. You don't have to use the whole thing, you know. There's a lot of details. I talked pretty at length about it on my previous episode, and I talked about it on the one before that. So if you'd like details, you can check that out there. I also have a post pinned to the top of my Instagram page with all the details. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You know, I'm happy to help. And then we also have, which I had 0 details on last week, and I have like this much detail on this week because there really aren't any details. I am also hosting the super duper loosey goosey garment mal over on Ravelry as well. And by host, I mean I set up a forum and we're just kind of winging it. I have decided I'm just going to kind of randomly, when I feel like it, several times throughout the year, just go in and, you know, random number generator through the posts and pick somebody and, you know, have them win a pattern or something. That's kind of what we're going to do. Super loose over there. Just knit garments. Use your stash. That's the goal this year. If you too want to use your stash, I'd encourage you to check out Bobblehead Knits and Caron of Bobblehead Knits and Mandy Vaughn of Diary of a Sweater Knitter. Here on YouTube, they are running the Yarn Stash Smash. I think I got that right. And I'm participating if I ever finish anything, which we'll chat about in a minute. But yeah, use your stash. Super, super fun. And a lot of us, not everybody. I remember back when I was a new knitter and everybody talked about their stashes. And I was like, well, I don't have that. So if you don't feel bad. That's okay. But if you do have a stash that you are trying to work through, and if, like me, you are actively trying not to buy yarn or not very much yarn this year, I would encourage you to check them out. And even if that is not your goal at all, and you're like, but Courtney, I want to buy all the yarn, go check them out anyway. They're awesome. Okay, let's just get into the knitting. I feel like I am stalling today because I only worked on one thing. Anyways, but let's chat about what I'm wearing. This is the Breckenridge by Marley Bird. I knit this, gosh, okay. I don't remember exactly when I knit this because this was her turkey trot, which is a make along that she does every like Thanksgiving weekend every year. It used to be more of a mystery, and now I think it's less of a mystery. I didn't do it this past year because I just had a lot going on. But anyways, I did her sample knit for that. Was it 2023 maybe? Maybe. I'm thinking it was 2023. I did her sample knit, and I knit I want to say it was a size 2X. I don't remember. In like 10 days. And it was crazy, and it was a lot while working my full-time job. Anyways, so I knit the sample for her, and which was like really cool. And then I cast mine on and was like, no, I just am so over knitting this sweater. And it was the weight of yarn I didn't use very much and needle size that I didn't use very much. And I was just like, yeah, I'm tapping out for now. I'll finish it when I finish it. So I think I finished this right around or maybe on Thanksgiving Day of 2024. I'm pretty sure I had like not picked it up for a very long time and then knit it again very quickly, if I'm remembering correctly. I might be remembering wrong, right around that time. So it's a cardigan. It's got just some buttons here at the top, and then it's open at the bottom with this beautiful lace detail. And there's, I want to say, if I remember right, and again, I knit this from the sample knitter tester version, which is not, I don't know. I don't know what options the final version ended up having. But anyways, it's got these bell sleeves, at least in my version. If I could change one thing, well, there'd be two things about this I would change. One, I was so in a hurry. I wanted this for Thanksgiving, I'm pretty sure is the whole thing. And I really should have done one more lace repeat. I really should have done one more. I would have been so much happier with one more. Just have a little bit of a longer sleeve. Like, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal, but I probably would have liked a longer sleeve. And also, where is it? I did a really silly thing. I thought I wove in all of my ends, and I went to clip them. And I had woven in all of them except for one very, very crucial end, which was like the end of the sleeve bind off. And I clipped it, and it was like, bloop. So I honestly was like, well, I don't have time for this. I'm pretty sure this was on Thanksgiving because I vaguely remember, I might be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure I was watching the parade when I was doing this, which might be an issue, might have been part of the problem. Anyway, I literally just tied it. I don't know if you can see it. I just tied the ends in a knot. And I don't know, it's held up. It's kind of annoying to me, but I'm the only one that's ever noticed it. Nobody else has been like, why is it like that? So it's slightly annoying to me, but it's fine. And I could go back and fix it, but it's holding up fine. I think at this point, a lot of the fibers have kind of felted together anyway. So it's all good. I knit this out of Caron Macchiato cakes in the colorway Lovely. So this is also a nice Valentine's time cardigan. It is very, very, very warm. So perfect for today, but I don't wear it as much as I want to because for me, at least, it's a little too warm. The yarn is, I want to say, a bulky weight, and it's a single ply. So it has pilled quite a bit, and it started pilling like the day I first wore it. And pilling doesn't bother me personally. It just shows me that I am wearing something that I really love, and it's pilling because I'm wearing it and I'm using it. And I don't think signs of use, to me, that's not a negative. That's a positive. That's like, oh my gosh, I'm wearing it. It's great. Yeah. So that's what I'm wearing today. Be on the lookout. I know usually if you are a mystery knit along person or crochet along, she does mals. So both knit and crochet. Her game day mal should be coming up Super Bowl Sunday. I don't think she's released any information on it, which makes me very nervous because it's like a week away. And I won't be buying yarn for it if I choose to participate. I don't know if I'm going to do it yet or not. Haven't decided. I need a little more detail. And if I have something in my stash that'll work, I might. If not, I probably won't. So I'm not going to buy yarn for it. We'll see. Okay. I'm just stalling. Works in progress. Let's go with one work in progress. I have worked on exactly one thing since we last spoke, and I'm guessing that you can guess on that exact one thing. It is, yep, you're right. It is my Learn to Knit a Log Cabin Blanket by Staci Perry. I cast this on I went back in my Ravelry library to see if I could find when I put the pattern in my library. I believe it's a free pattern. I could be wrong. Again, this was like 6+ years ago. And I did put it in my Ravelry library back in December of 2019. So my guess is that is when I cast it on. If not, I cast it on very early 2020, pre-COVID. So this has been on my needles a long time. I am ready to get it off my needles. My personal goal is to have this done by the end of the first quarter of 2026. I am doing, so basically the Learn to Knit a Log Cabin Blanket. I'm doing it with scraps of worsted weight acrylic yarn. Some of this is yarn I've used in previous projects. Some of this is like yarn that I don't even know where it came from. Some of it is what I call rescue yarn, which is yarn that other people are ready to throw away or whatever, or they don't do scrappy projects and they give me their yarn at the end of the projects and I go make something cool with it. So a lot of this is that. Anyways, I'm doing 5 squares by 5 squares, so a total of 25 squares in this blanket. I have felt so discouraged. So my goal, and I'll show you in a minute, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll show you what I have in a second. I have felt really discouraged because I feel like I am knitting on this and knitting on this and knitting on this and knitting on this. And my goal for January was to finish 8 of these blocks. I have finished 5 and started block 6. I'm about halfway through block 6. It is January 30th. I work all day tomorrow. I am not going to manage to pump out 2.5 blocks in the next, like 36 hours or something. I do eat and sleep and stuff. So that is just not going to happen. I'm hopeful that I can finish block 6 today maybe, and then start block 7 tomorrow. But that's been kind of discouraging. And I was talking to my husband about how, like, I just feel like I've been knitting on this and I'm remembering why it wasn't enjoyable. I mean, it is enjoyable. I love playing with the color. It's not difficult. It's a fun knit, but also, goodness, it's just taking forever. And I couldn't figure out why. And I was like, it's just such a slog. And I'm not getting anywhere, and I get excited when I finish a block because I feel like I finished something, but I really didn't finish anything. And I was having all these thoughts, and he was like, let's weigh your squares. Let's just see how much they weigh. Here is why. Here is why I feel like I'm not making any progress. I am actually knitting a whole lot. So here are the squares I have so far, which I'll show them to you individually just because why not? I have not worked on anything else. There are 15 of these squares in here, and I'll hold one up just so you can kind of gauge how large they are. So we weighed them, I don't know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, what I had at the time. I think I had 13 squares, I want to say, at that point finished. Those 13 squares altogether weighed well over 1,200 grams. And I weighed my 15 finished squares this morning, right before I started recording. And I did a little teeny bit of math. So all 15 of these together weigh a total, where did I put this? Oh, weigh a total of 1,433 grams. And if you divide that, 1,433, if you divide that by 15, the average square weighs 95.5 grams. I think it was actually like 0.53 or something, but whatever. We're not going to get that technical. So basically, one square is almost a full skein of worsted weight yarn. So that's a lot of knitting. Like that's 5 skeins of worsted weight yarn. So that would be like for this month. So that would be like knitting a worsted weight sweater. That's maybe not. I don't know. I'm not good at the yarn math. But that's a lot of knitting. That is a lot. That's a lot. Which made me feel better. So I still think I can finish this blanket by the end of March. We will see, but that is still my goal. And if I don't make it, it's just a personal goal. But yeah, I have no finished objects. This is all I have worked on. And I kind of think that's going to be the way that it is for a while. I have finally figured out how to make it portable. I am just kind of throwing scraps that like I can gauge are the right size for a certain strip and throwing them in my bag and taking it with me. The other reason I haven't gotten as much done, I love to read. I have a personal goal of reading 50 pages a day minimum. And I get a lot more knitting done when a book will lay flat open on the table and I can read and I can knit at the same time. I have been reading a lot of books that don't lay flat. And if I have to hold it in my hands are not free for needles. So that's a lot of it. So without further ado, let me show you what I did get done. So since I last saw you, I know I did this square because I did not weave in my ends. I know I was doing really well with that, but they'll get done. They'll get done. I just finished this square Wednesday night. So I have this one. And I know I finished this one since I last saw you. And it's hard to see, but some of the yarn has sparkle in it, which I think is really fun. And this one, you may have seen this one. I don't know. We're just going through all of them. They kind of all fell out of order when I was weighing them. So I had to like get out a bowl and weigh them and stuff. This one, now you might notice too, there's a bit of a size discrepancy between some of my very early ones and the ones now. I'm really not that worried about it. I think one, I have changed the way that I bind off and I have changed the way that I cast on since starting the blanket. So I think that's part of it. I also have loosened up. My gauge has loosened slightly. I am still a pretty tight knitter, but I'm a lot looser than I was at that time. And the nature of the beast is I'm using worsted weight yarn from all different brands of yarn, all different lines. It's just everything is a little bit different. Some of it I know what it is. Some of it I don't. So we've got stuff that's really light worsted to stuff that's really bordering on Aran weight in here. And it's fine. It's garter. So it is very, very stretchy. I am not concerned at all about when I go to stitch this together. Okay. Maybe at all is a little bit of a stretch. I'm a tiny bit concerned, but whatever. It'll be fine. It's a blanket and it's going to go on our bed and hardly anybody is ever going to see it anyway. And I don't care. It's fine. So there's that one. This one, it just reminds me of Valentine's Day. I'm pretty sure I knit this one last January or February and then gave up on this blanket, as I seem to do every year. And maybe part of this is it's a blanket. It kind of needs to be a winter project, but maybe it's just not a great winter project. I don't know. I don't know what my holdup is. This one, I know you saw last time, because I realized I forgot to mention this and then I was disappointed, but I'll mention it now. So when I was knitting this, if you are a 90s, early 2000s child, do you remember the TV show Rocket Power? I wasn't super into that show, but my brother was. Anyway, these colors are very Rocket Power colors. I mentioned it to my husband and he was like, oh my gosh, yes, those are the Rocket Power colors. It was like I think they were in Hawaii or something, and it was like these kids who did like skateboarding and surfing. I don't know. It was very popular back in the day. I think this one was a more recent one. Yes. Because it's got that purple. Some of these might have been the end of last year. I really don't remember. We've got this one. And this one, this is another one that was a little bit smaller, I can tell. And you can tell my my joins are a little wonky. Like, look at that, like, weird diagonal line. I don't know what's happening there. But again, it's fine. It's fine. I can probably also sort of contend with these issues when I actually lay them out in the order that I want them and play with that. So... And I am trying very hard to make each square different. So you'll see that a lot of the same colors are used. No color is used in every square, but I'm trying to, for the most part, and I may not have done this early on, I'm trying to use colors in different spots in each square. And I am trying to use one color, if I can, in at least 2 squares. That is not always possible because the goal is to use up scraps. So if they're smaller, that doesn't always happen. But just so that they kind of tie back to each other a little bit. And as far as color planning goes, it's pretty random. My only stipulation is a color can't completely clash with the color or colors that it is next to. And even then, sometimes I'm like, whatever, it's fine. We'll just let it clash. It's an exercise in color and scrap usage and playing with yarn, and it's all good. It's all fine. So those are my 15 squares. I am going to, for my own peace, I guess, I don't know, my own feeling like I'm making some progress, I am going to lay them out on the floor after I'm done recording and take a picture, just so that I can see the blanket like filling in, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just really need I need the motivation. Feel free to motivate me. Those of you who are in our Discord group have been so encouraging, and we are having so much fun there, by the way. Please join us. Yeah, but you guys have been encouraging, which is great. And I know it's slow. It's supposed to be slow. It's knitting. That's okay. That is okay. And it will get done. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I haven't made progress. I know I've made progress. Speaking of, I should show you the progress I'm currently making right now. So I cast this square on Wednesday night and knit the green square here, and I think I got through most of this indigo. I just had to bind it off. And yesterday I knit this strip, and this strip, and I have partially cast on this one. Most of this was knit at work, so that's when my break ended, and I had to go back in, so I didn't finish getting the next strip totally cast on, but I'm really, really liking this square so far. And I will say every square as I'm working on it is my favorite square, which has been really fun too. So I'm enjoying playing around with it. You can see I've got a bunch of scraps in here. I have 2 bagfuls and a basket full of scraps and leftovers and things over there for this project. That was kind of the other thing. For a long time, I was out of, or mostly out of yarn for this. And then last year I got a bunch of rescue yarn in that would work for this project. So anyways, That's all I worked on. I worked in my junk journal a little bit. I've been reading, I've been cooking. I had a snow day Monday and baked delicious brownies. I've been creating in other ways too. But this is the only fiber craft I've done. And that brings us, so if you're here just for the knitting, well, wait, hang on. This is why we have notes. Future plans. Yeah, so like I said, I might do the game day make-along. I might not. I am undecided at this time. Sunday is February 1st. If you've been following along, on the 1st of each month in 2026, I am casting on some type of garment. Now, I have obviously not touched a garment in 2 weeks. I've not touched anything but this blanket in 2 weeks. So I feel a little weird about casting on a garment, but I'm going to do it anyway. It may not be an adult garment. I might do a baby garment or a child size. We'll see. I don't know. I might cast on a sweater quantity that's been sitting in my stash for a long time. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to cast something on February 1st. And I think that's all of my future plans. The future currently looks like this. And that's okay. It's fine. But I could use encouragement. Please. Please, please, please. I need encouragement. So if you were just here for the knitting, that was it. Oh, crochet. I have a crochet thing. It's not my thing. It's Mason's thing. But I haven't shared it in a while. So if you don't know, if you are newer here, my husband crochets and I knit. And he is working on The Intermission by Deanne Ramsey. And I will pop a picture in somewhere here that he has not taken, but he will, and he will send it to me, of his shawl. I don't know any of the details at all about this. Yeah, maybe, Mason, when you watch this, maybe you could pop in a comment letting us know. I don't know the details. But anyways, he's been working on that. And that's what we have for crochet. But that's at least something. If you were here for the fiber crafts only, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time in a couple of weeks. Maybe we'll have more than just a blanket. Maybe not. We'll see. If you are staying for the reading, buckle up because I've done some reading. Let's go through. I'm still doing my little reading journal. Full disclosure, I did have to catch up on it this morning, but that is okay. That's okay. We're still doing it. So that's fine. So let's see. What have I been reading? I am still listening to The Women by Kristen Hanna. I am still enjoying it. However, I am finding that it's deep. Maybe it's just me. Do any of you listen to audiobooks or have specific things that you listen to when you do specific things? Like I have a specific podcast that I listen to when I'm doing my 30 minutes of cleaning in this one area of my home that I'm trying to really clean and organize and stuff. That's like a longer term project. I have a very specific podcast that I listen to every time I do that. It's just like a cozy, calm podcast. So The Women, because I can kind of zone in and out of that, The Women I am finding is perfect for embroidery or working in my junk journal or coloring or something like that. But I don't know why I don't enjoy listening to it when I'm knitting on this blanket, at least. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know. So I haven't been listening to it while I've been knitting. I've only been listening to it when I'm doing other things like that. So I have listened to it a bit more, but I haven't gotten significant progress on that. Still really enjoying it, enjoying where the story is going. But it's a slower listen, and I'm also... It's fine. I'm listening, I'm absorbing, and it's pretty good so far. We are still listening to Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. That is, Mason and I are both listening to that. We share a car. We're a one-car household, have been for a very long time. We commute together every day, and that has been our commute listen. We do not listen to it when it is snowing really bad and the weather is really bad, and the weather's been pretty crazy lately, so we have not gotten as far in that as I would have liked. I would have liked to have been done with it by now, but that's okay. And sometimes like after work, it's like we just need to chat it out on the way home. So, you know, it's going slow, but we just started disc 7 out of 8. So we are getting close to being done. Really enjoying it. It's one of those, I kind of don't want to be done with it. I kind of don't want it to end. It is so twisty, so good. And I don't know what the print experience is like because I'm listening to it, but it is one of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to. It's very well produced. If you have already listened to that and you are looking for another audiobook that gives you a very similar experience, I would check out None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. We listened to that 2 years ago, last year, I don't remember, but also extremely well produced, very similar production quality. Really liked it. But we are enjoying Listen for the Lie. So I talked about both of these books pretty decently on my last episode. So if you're interested in what those are about, you can check that out there. But what have I finished? I have finished books. I finished The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers and her collaborator, Alex. I don't recall the last name. It was a mystery, thriller, crime kind of book. I started that January 15th and finished it January 18th. I read it in print, and it was about 260 pages, and I gave it 4.25 stars, and it came out last year. So basically, it's about these two women who each had a sister disappear in August of 2012, I believe. And the timeline, you know what, I'll tell you my critiques in a minute of this book. So it's 7 years after that, it's 2019, and they end up teaming up to find out what happens to their sisters. And okay, we're just going to have a bunch of interruptions now. My camera cut me off. All right, let's try again. So basically there's a lot of, they team up to find their sisters or find out what happened to them. There are a lot of secrets and twists and turns, and you think you know where it's going, but you don't. A lot of red herrings. Yeah, so overall, I felt like the story was really good. The ending did, for the most part, surprise me. I definitely had some issues with the book, though. So, what were they? If you don't know who Ashley Flowers is, she is the founder and host of Crime Junkie, which is an audio chuck podcast. That's her podcasting brand. She is a huge name in the kind of sector of true crime podcasting. So anyways, she, I think, does a great job with that. Her voice very much comes through in the book. Not always in a good way. Sometimes her voice comes through in a way that makes it feel a little... You know how, like, you can speak and be a very eloquent speaker, but if you wrote those same words down on paper and you read it, it doesn't hit the same, and it feels clunky, or it feels, it doesn't translate quite the same. Doesn't mean it was a bad speech. It could be an amazing speech, but maybe in the written word, it doesn't feel natural. There we go. Doesn't feel quite as natural. And that's how I felt about some of the writing in this book. She did have a previous book called All Good People Here. I read that. I really liked it. But this one I felt like had a lot more of her voice in it. And I had mixed feelings about that. Some of the writing was a little bit rough. Some of it felt a little immature, to be honest. I don't know how exactly to make that make sense. I felt like the main character was very immature, and I think in some regards was supposed to be immature. I think we were supposed to see that her growth as a person was really stunted at this point when her sister disappeared, but it seemed like she was very immature before. I didn't find myself able to really connect with her, which was okay. I don't have to connect with every single character in every book I read for it to be a good book. Overall, like I said, I really like the story. I had really mixed feelings about the ending. I didn't love the ending. I didn't hate the ending. But it felt odd to me, especially if you read her first book. I don't want to give the ending of that book away. The ending in that book is unsatisfying and is meant to feel unsatisfying for a reason. This one just kind of felt like, oh, okay, this feels a little almost like that one is meant to feel unsatisfying to. I am not being eloquent today. All Good People Here's ending is meant to be unsatisfying because so often in real life endings are not satisfying. This feels the other way. This almost feels like I didn't buy it. I didn't buy the ending hook, line, and sinker. Felt like it was still a great story. Still really enjoyed it. 4.25 is still a very good rating, but it's not 5 stars. It was pretty good. I didn't really find any of the characters to be likable. That was my other huge critique. Like at the end of this book, I was like, well, I kind of hated everybody. Didn't think there was anybody I really liked. Maybe one person, and that was about it. But again, I don't have to like everybody in a story to make it a good story. And so, yeah. Positives, it kept me reading. I was very engaged with the book. The writing, I felt like got better as the book went along. But that was it. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I actually would. I thought it was pretty good. It kept me moving. And other people probably can relate to these characters in ways that I can't. So anyway, I read that. And then I picked up Another Fine Mess by Lindy Ryan. This one, I have the genre listed as horror, but I also added humor because wow. Words are hard today. It's funny. The characters are just great. I started this January 18th, 2026, finished it January 23rd of 2026. I read this one in print. I gave it 4.5 stars, and it was 296 pages long, and it also came out last year. So it is number 2 in the Bless Your Heart series by Lindy Ryan. I had just last fall, I went through the stacks in my library, picked out just some random books. I didn't need to know anything about them that looked fall or Halloween or whatever for just to curate my own TBR. I did not read every book that I brought home. I did read Bless Your Heart. I had never heard of it. I hadn't seen it talked about anywhere. And last year I kind of would bring books home and then let Mason choose which one I'd read next. So he had chosen that one and I was kind of like, I just pulled it off the shelf. I don't even think I really want to read this. I'm so glad I read it. It's horror, but it's funny. The characters are lovable. It's about this family of women, the Evans women. There are 4 of them, 4 generations. And basically their family protects the town from, I didn't do this on audio. I did this in print, so I'm probably mispronouncing, Strigoi? Anyway, basically, they're zombies, but they don't like the term zombie because they find that offensive kind of thing. They don't use that term. But basically, the undead, they come back to life. They have to put them back down. And they're in Texas. There's just this southern charm, like, to these women. It's great. It's like if Steel Magnolias meets, I don't know, like Twilight or something, except so much better. I don't know. I really, really enjoyed the first book. So in the second book, we revisit this town, these characters, and the second book basically picks up right where the first book leaves off, which is great. And what I wrote was the Evans women are back with unfinished business as they try to uncover who or what or both is terrorizing their town. So basically, they thought they'd solved the problem in book 1. Turns out they didn't solve it. And they're back with another, mystery to solve and more monsters. And it was really good. I really liked it. It was not disappointing. The same characters and the witty banter that I fell in love with in Bless Your Heart were just all over this book. I love the way that she takes common horror tropes or themes like werewolves and vampires and zombies and kind of twists it to make them almost more, I don't want to say realistic. That's maybe not quite the right word, but more, I don't know how to put it. Like, takes the woo out of it. I don't know. It's fun. They're just fun. It feels real. And I think these would make great movies too, or miniseries. They are amazing. If you're a fan of, and they take place, I forgot to say this, they're set in the 90s, I believe. If you are a fan of Stranger Things, you might like this book series. Obviously, Stranger Things is not set in the South. This is, but the same lovable characters versus monster kind of things. To be fair, I tapped out of Stranger Things after season 3. But anyway, if you like Stranger Things, you might like these books. And then I read Murder with Puffins by Donna Andrews. That one was a cozy mystery. I started that January 24th, 2026, finished it January 28th of 2026. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was 310 pages. I did that one in print. And it came out in the year 2000. So if you tuned in last time, you may remember that the first book of the year that I read was Murder with Peacocks, also by Donna Andrews. This one is book 2 in the series. And I think I'm going to stick with this series, and try and get through that maybe this year or the next couple of years. There are a lot of books. Obviously, the first book came out in 1999. There is a book coming out this year. So there are a lot of these books. But they follow Meg Langslow. At least first 2 do. I assume the whole series does. So anyways, Meg attempts to get some alone time with her boyfriend, Michael. So she tells him they're going to get away from her family. They've had these relatives staying with them. Again, this picks up not too terribly long after the first book ends. And they need to get away. They have no privacy anywhere. There's all these relatives staying everywhere. She's got this huge, absolutely wild, wacky family. They need some alone time. She remembers her Aunt Phoebe has this little cottage up on this island off the coast of Maine. And she's like, let's go. It's maybe not the most glamorous tropical vacation, but it'll give us some privacy. We'll get away from people. So they get to the cottage, and lo and behold, her whole family has vacated and gone there too. Her parents are back from their second honeymoon. Her brother's there with her boyfriend's mother's dog. Her aunt is there. Her mother's best friend is there. So we get the same wacky, kooky set of characters that we got in book 1, which I love that. The characters were just so great. And they are all staying in this little cottage. There's also a hurricane barreling down on this island. So, and of course there's a murder. There's a murder. A local is murdered, and it's up to Meg to prove that none of her relatives did it and to find out who did and why. So it is quirky. It is fun. I found that there were fewer things that were products of their time in this book. which was good. It didn't keep me as engaged as the first book did. I don't quite know why. I guess I didn't find the mystery quite as intriguing, but it was still really good. I really love puffins. I just think they're adorable. I think they're so fun. I'd love to see a puffin in real life. So that was fun, even though she did make some quite disparaging remarks about the birders. There's also, it's like mega birding season. It's migration season in this book, and like the fall migration. So there are all these birders on the island, and she doesn't have very nice things to say about bird watchers, and I love bird watching, so I was like slightly a little offended, but that's okay. So I had fun. It was a fun read. It was fine. I gave it 3.5 stars. Was it a great work of literature? No. That's fine. It was good. You know, I did feel like the ending was a little rushed and unsatisfying, which seems to be my theme lately. I don't know. I didn't quite buy the ending. Felt like maybe she was on a deadline and just kind of had to create it. That's fine. I didn't expect it to be amazing, and it was still fun. It was a fun read, and I'm finding this year has been like 4 weeks long. It's felt a lot longer. I'm really enjoying books with a lovable cast of characters that make me feel like I'm sitting down with friends. Absolutely wacky friends, but that's okay. Those are the best kind. And then I started yesterday, which I am so excited to show you guys this cover, because I picked this up because of the cover. It came in recently. It is called Ask for Andrea by Noelle Ilhi. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I started this yesterday, so the 29th. Obviously, I'm reading it in print. It's 288 pages. And I don't know if this will reflect on camera, but the whole cover is like this really cool. Let me see if I can catch it in the light. It's not going to do it justice, but this is all this really cool metallic, and then the lettering is metallic, and it has sprayed edges. I know that some people don't like sprayed edges, but as somebody who works with books all day, every day, it's such a surprise, and it's so much fun for us to get these sprayed edges in. But yeah, I am not very far in. I am on page 55. I just did my pages for yesterday, and I haven't picked it up yet today. But yeah, I 100% just picked this up because of the cover and the sprayed edges. It is, so far from what I can tell, it follows these 3 women who are all murdered by the same man, and they are now ghosts. Not ghosts in like, but basically, I don't know how to describe it. It's a more realistic kind of portrayal. And basically, these women are, from what I've gathered, are obviously distraught because they've been murdered, and are trying to figure out a way to get this guy caught and to keep this guy from killing again. So it's interesting so far. I'm not far enough into it to have any kind of real opinion. I don't know if I like the characters or not. It is a multi-perspective book, so if that is not your thing, this might not be for you. And I believe it's categorized as horror thriller, and I don't know if it's horror just because the murdered women are ghosts. So far it's reading to me more like a thriller. But what I do like, and what I know the author was striving to do, was have a thriller, like crime book, truly from the victim perspective. And I think that that's a really cool take on it. And I really like that somebody's doing that. I think that that's really great. So, and I believe that the book was inspired by or based on Ted Bundy's victims. So that's also really, really interesting. So anyways, no real opinion on this yet, other than This has like one of the coolest covers I have seen maybe ever, but definitely in a very long time. And I just think it's a really beautiful, beautiful, aesthetically pleasing book. And that is what I've been reading. Life updates. Like I said, life in the US has been a whole thing lately and is, yeah, donate if you can. Help your neighbors out. Yeah. Call your representatives, call your senators. If you're in the US. If you're not, you know. It's also been very snowy and very cold. I had a snow day on Monday, which I don't often have, like, ever. So that was a lovely surprise. Lovely, lovely surprise. Mason's still to work, but I got the day off, and it was lovely. I had a nice little self-care kind of day. I did my crafts. I baked brownies. I did creative things. I read. It was great. But it has been very, very frigid temperatures. I mean, we have tons of snow. I'll put some pictures. I did wash my woolen sweaters out in the snow. I've never done that before. And that was really cool. It felt like such a connection to nature. It felt like such a connection to, you know, knitting and crocheting our fibercraft ancestors of the past. That was really cool. And oh my goodness, wow, my knitted garments, they smell so good. The fibers like plumped up. It was a really nice refresh, like a nice mid knitting season refresh for those. So that was great. And I don't have too much else to say. We've been just kind of taking it easy, quiet. You know, when we're not at work, it's busy season for me at work. And, yeah, there's a lot going on there. But at home, we've just been kind of chilling and hanging out. So not a lot to say there. And I think that's about all I have. My pocket for delight this week is more birds. Do we sense a theme? So I had my snow day Monday, and there is an annual thing at our house. It's Robin Day is what we call it. And we have a hawthorn tree right outside our front window. The OG hawthorn tree blew down in a storm a couple of years ago, so we didn't get to have Robin Day last year because the tree was really too small and too new, the new one that was planted, to replace it. And it didn't produce a lot of berries. But basically, every year that we've lived here, and we've been here, it'll be 13 years this summer. So this would be Robin Day number 13, I think. There is just one day. It's always a day like this where it's super snowy, super, super cold. And all of these robins flock to the tree and just strip it of berries in a very short amount of time. I think our first year there were probably 75 to 100 robins. It was crazy. The whole yard was covered. The whole front porch, our front steps, there was so much bird poop everywhere. It was crazy. Like, we had to like sweep it up. It was crazy. It was a lot. At the time we had 2 cars, and Mason's car was parked in the driveway, and it looked like it had really been through some things when the robins were done with it. But it's so much fun to watch them. So Robin Day happened on Monday, and the robins came. At one point, there were 15 sitting in our tiny little hawthorn tree. I think there were a total of 30 altogether. They were kind of taking turns. They would come get some berries, fly over in a tree, while some more would come get some berries, and they'd kind of change places. And I mean, it only lasted maybe 15 to 20 minutes. But two things. One, spring is coming. The birds are still here. These little fat puffed up robins just give me so much hope. And it's just, I don't know, it's so much fun. It feels like friends coming to visit me. I love seeing it. And like, yeah. And 2, I really love birds. It made me so happy. So I took some pictures and video. It's not the greatest. I was just watching and mostly just taking it in on the couch, watching these birds. And it just brought me so much joy. One of my friends at work on our lunch break every day. We're like watching the birds outside the back of the library and we have cardinals and blue jays, and yesterday we saw some crows, and it's just, I don't know. Birds are great. I love watching birds, and they just bring me a lot of joy. So that's my little pocket of delight I have for you today. I hope that over the next couple of weeks till I see you next, that you find some time to do whatever brings you joy, whether that be knitting or crocheting or crafting or bird watching, or I don't know, maybe you are an outdoor sports enthusiast and skiing, snowboarding, whatever it is. I hope that you find time to do something that brings you joy in your little corner of paradise. And I will be over here knitting away on this blanket and watching the birds in my little corner of paradise. I'll see you next time, friends. Bye.